Okay, this is new videos called the New Deal Coalition. Is the last in our series on the New Deal. Isn't that exciting for you? I bet you're ready for that to end. Okay, so Roosevelt's second term, you have millions of voters who owe their jobs and homes and bank accounts to the New Deal. By 1936, Democratic Party membership has shifted from mainly white Southerners to include farmers, laborers, African Americans, new immigrants, ethnic minorities, women, progressives, and intellectuals. A little bit of everybody. Okay, so First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt spoke with many people from these various groups, and she persuaded her husband to address some of their concerns in his New Deal programs. Roosevelt's Secretary of Labor, Frances Perkins, was the first woman to be appointed to a cabinet post. Okay, Roosevelt won the 1936 election in one of the biggest landslides in American history. The Supreme Court did not support his New Deal programs very much. In January 1936, the court declared that the AAA was unconstitutional. So after the election, Roosevelt came up with this idea to change the political balance of the Supreme Court by doing something called court packing. Okay, Roosevelt sent a bill to Congress to increase the number of justices on the Supreme Court. Congress controls that. They can set the amount of justice on the Supreme Court. It's one of the checks and balances that we have in our system. Okay, this was a political mistake, and it split the Democratic Party. They did not like this. Okay, Americans felt it would give the president too much power, because you increase all these justices, then you got everybody who, supposedly is going to be backing him. So. In 1937, a sudden rise in unemployment further hurt Roosevelt's popularity. When he cut spending just as the first Social Security payroll taxes decreased paychecks, the economy plummeted and 2 million people were out of work. This recession led to a debate about how to handle the situation. Treasury Secretary Henry Morgenthau wanted to balance the budget and cut some spending. The opposition pushed for more government spending in this case. They supported the Keynesianism, which is the theories of British economist John Maynard Keynes. In his book, he argued that the government needed to spend heavily during a recession to jumpstart the economy. So, because other people aren't spending money, the idea is so the government has the money to spend, they could spend it. Okay. In 1938, Roosevelt asked Congress for $3.75 billion for the PWA, WPA, and other programs, and to use this money to help kind of jumpstart the economy. Okay, the last New Deal reforms, Roosevelt's successes were limited in his second term of office. 1937, the National Housing Act, promoted by Eleanor Roosevelt, created a United States Housing Authority to subsidize loans for builders willing to buy blocks of slums and build low-cost housing. The Farm Security Administration gave loans to tenant farmers so they could purchase their own farms. Congress kept appropriations low, believing that the plan made agricultural problems worse. You also had the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938, which gave protection to workers and abolished child labor, finally, and created a 40-hour work week for workers. New Deal legislation began to get blocked as Congress began to turn against the New Deal over time. So the New Deal era ended around 1939. Okay, so the legacy of the New Deal. It had limited success, but the biggest thing it probably did is it gave Americans a stronger sense of security and stability in what was going on in the world at the time. The New Deal operated to balance competing economic interests in the world, between business and government and, regulation, that kind of thing. The New Deal's mediating role established the broker state, which helped work out conflicts among different interests. It also brought a new public attitude regarding government. The program gave Americans a safety net that provided safeguards and relief programs to protect them from economic disaster. Remember, these are safety nets. They were never intended to be permanent, except for maybe the Social Security Act. Okay? All right, that concludes our final video here. I told you it was going to be a short one. And look for the Edmodo quiz for that. Thank you.